Building a Future for Coral Reefs with 3D Printing. Coral reefs are homes for many sea animals. However, the weather is getting warmer, and this is damaging the reefs. Scientists have been using artificial reefs to help. To do this, they put some materials such as concrete and ceramics under the water for coral to latch onto. There are problems with this approach, though. For one thing, the artificial reefs don't match the existing coral. For another, it can be expensive. Scientists have found 3D printing to be a cheaper and faster solution. With 3D printing, different designs can be made to fit the geography where the coral lives. Various organizations around the world have started putting objects made by 3D printers in the ocean to help coral grow. Today, 3D printing is limited in its scale, and some reefs are very large. But in the future, bioprinting and other developments should be able to help with this problem. Unfortunately, 3D printing doesn't solve the underlying problem of why coral is disappearing in the first place. It's time that we took more action to stop climate change.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Jacqueline.
And 3D printing is coming for us all. With AI and 3D printing, we're going to be sitting around not doing anything and not making anything, and it's going to be great, or it's going to be terrible. We don't really know, but one way that 3D printing might only truly and absolutely be great is helping to rebuild or build a future or rebuild a future for coral reefs.
Really?
3D printed coral reefs. So you might not have a job, I might not have a job, but Nemo's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll always be able to find Nemo. He'll be by the nearest 3D printed reef. And this is good news because, of course, as anyone who knows, who's been paying any attention to the environment and to the news, of course, knows that reefs are in big trouble around the world. The water temperature in the ocean is getting warmer. This is killing off the coral. Remember, coral, it might look like a stone, but it's actually a lot of living animals. And with no coral come no coral plants and no, none of the animals that live around them and feed off them. And the whole food web, the whole, ecosystem is damaged. Now, if we could print 3D reefs, that would be a wonderful way of re-encouraging life to come back to one of the most beautiful parts of the whole planet. So let's check out our article and find out more. It says, as we begin, coral reefs are homes for many sea animals. Yes, however, the weather is getting warmer, and this is damaging the reefs. Yes, global warming, I'm sure you've heard of it, is raising water temperatures, ocean temperatures, and it's bad news for the reefs because they don't have air conditioning down there. Or water conditioning.
Yeah, 所以 coral reef 就是胡椒，不是胡椒啦，是珊瑚礁，是 coral 是珊瑚 ，reef 是礁，所以是珊瑚礁 ，OK，所以 damage 就是损害，然后有动词跟名词都是 OK 的。所以珊瑚礁呢是许多海洋动物的家园 ，or many homes， 刚刚有说到 home 是家园，但是天气越来越暖，所以其实我们珊瑚礁现在是有严重的受伤的，很难过诶。So maybe we should do something about it.
We have to do something about it. And the good news is that very smart people have been using their very big brains to come up with solutions to this for a while. It says scientists have been using artificial reefs to help. So we have basic technology where they can kind of make a fake reef. But it might, of course, not be quite as good as a real one. But hey, it's better than nothing. What is a scientist? A scientist is a person who does science. That's right. If you're doing research, if you're working in a lab, if you're studying things and trying to come up with solutions in medicine or chemistry, biology, physics, scientists do all sorts of things from design rockets to look at the tiniest things to explain the mysteries of the universe to help us fight diseases. They're doing things with science evidence, research, and experimentation. Here's a scientist everyone should know. In 1928, a scientist named Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin, which has gone on to save millions of lives.
那 artificial 就是人造的、人工的，所以因为呢，珊瑚礁快要死掉了，快要不见了，所以科学家们呢就会使用人造的 artificial coral reef， 就是人造，它不是自然的，来帮助解决这个状况哦。So how do they do it?
Well, so far it's been pretty basic, I guess. I mean, this is, of course, a really hard thing to do. You're doing it miles out into the ocean. You can't exactly stop the water and go down there and build something. So you kind of have to be able to take something pretty simple out there and hope it works. And so far it has worked. It says to do this, to make these artificial reefs, they put some materials such as concrete and ceramics under the water for coral to latch onto. So this would sort of be just like laying out a bunch of dirt and hoping some seeds fall onto it and start to grow, in your field, as it were. But none of this is coral, none of it is living. It's concrete, which of course is sort of a man-made stone. A lot of buildings can be made with concrete. You mix together rock and some chemicals, you pour it out, and then eventually it dries and becomes hard, just like stone. Or they've been doing it with ceramics. Ceramic is another hard material. It's often made with clay, porcelain. If you think of the tiles in your bathroom or what a sink or a toilet or a bathtub are made of, that kind of hard, white, shiny material, that is ceramics too. But the good thing is with both concrete and ceramics, you can put it into the ocean and not a lot of chemicals will come off it, so it won't be bad for the fish around.
Oh, okay. So concrete 就是混凝土，那么陶瓷制品呢就是 ceramics， 所以都是一些不同的质料嘛。那这边有一个片语是 latch onto something， 就是紧密结合的意思。所以为了要达成这个效果呢，他们就是把 concrete 就是混凝土跟 ceramics 陶瓷这些材料放在水里面，所以珊瑚呢就可以附着在这一些表面上哦。
There are problems with this approach, though. This is a way of sort of fixing the problem, but hardly, not at all, the perfect or ideal or best way. So like all good scientists, they're trying to look for new approaches. So let's talk about that word for a moment. Now here we are using approach as a noun. Often you might hear approach used as a verb. When you get closer to something, you approach that thing. You might say, my friend got nervous as the dog approached him because he's afraid of dogs, right? As the dog got closer. Here though, using it as a noun, this is more a way of doing something or a way of thinking about something. For example, I don't think this approach will be successful. Maybe it's time to come up with another plan. I could also say maybe it's time to come up with another approach, another way or method of doing something.
Approach 就是方法 maybe like a method.
Kind of like a method, yeah,
Okay.
a way of doing something.
So we can also use that as a verb, right? So if something is approaching you, that means it's getting near you. 好可怕哦，没有啦，要接近你。所以像是 it's approaching lunchtime，就是 lunchtime 要到了 ，let's take a break.
Yeah.
所以呢，科学家使用这个方法有一些问题哦。There are some problems.
That is true. All right, so get back to the article. It says, for one thing, the artificial reefs don't match the existing coral. As you said, you're dropping giant blocks of concrete or things like that. It's just not going to look natural. It's clearly going to be man-made. And, I don't think the fish probably care too much. But for, tourists and people who want to enjoy the natural world, this clearly is not natural. So it just doesn't look right.
Okay.
I get it.
所以 for one thing 就是一方面，好，一方面是怎么样呢？这些人造的珊瑚礁跟真正的珊瑚礁其实是不吻合的。
Yes, that's
What's another
clearly true that there is more than one problem with this artificial reef, this approach to fixing the reefs. For another, it using concrete, ceramics, blah, blah, blah. For another, it can be expensive. That's right. You got to get these big heavy things, put them on a boat, take them out there, drop them safely into the water. This takes a lot of time and money. probably tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars a day to get all the equipment and people that you need. So it is expensive. It does cost a lot of money. Scientists have found 3D printing to be a cheaper and faster solution. So we can use a 3D printer to make things that look much more like coral.
OK，
Yeah.
所以另一方面而言呢，所以我们两个方面嘛，这个方式呢，就是可能会很贵嘛。但是，所以科学家发现一个方式，就是 3D printing， 就是3D 打印或列印，它是一个更便宜、更快速的解决办法哦。
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And of course, 3D printing is something that you can do a lot of different things with. You can control it in a much clearer way, much easier way than trying to build the perfect little concrete reef. With 3D printing, different designs can be made to fit the geography where the coral lives.
所以3D 列印可以制作出适合珊瑚生活的地形的不同设计。这边有没有看到一个 fit？ 这个 fit 指的就是很合适的意思。不过我们如果用 fit 当形容词，可以形容一个人身材很好啦。
Now, another problem with this, or maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's an opportunity. We need help with reefs all over the place. So various organizations around the world have started putting objects made by 3D printers in the ocean to help coral grow. So we could have people at a business or university here in Taiwan doing this for the reefs in Kending, in Australia for the Great Barrier Reef, in America for reefs around, I don't know, Florida, places like that. You can do it in various parts of the world. Various different groups and institutions or companies could all get in to the 3D coral printing business. Various is basically lots of different types, not just one type, many types. For example, the little shop sold candles in various shapes, sizes, colors, and smells. There was a large choice or a large variety, in other words, various different types of candles.
So a variety of something， 我们平常平用使用这个，就是在我们文章中今天变成 various， 它就是许多不同的，它们可以替换，所以像是 computers can perform various tasks. You can also say computers can perform a variety of tasks. 所以世界上各地的多个组织呢，已经开始将 3D 打印机制作的物体放到海洋中，帮助这些珊瑚生长。That's so cool, actually.
It is very cool, but of course, it's just something that they're starting to do. And when you think about the size of the oceans and the reefs that need help, this is where it kind of runs into, well, stuff that we can do now compared to what we want to do in the future. As it says, today, 3D printing is limited in its scale, and some reefs are very large. I think the Great Barrier Reef in Australia has been described as the largest living thing in the world. I mean, it stretches from right up at the north part to like halfway down the east coast of Australia there. So the scale of this problem is huge. And of course, having just a little 3D printer working away is great, but it's going to take like 1,000 years to do something. So they need to increase the scale. The scale of something is the size of something, especially when it's big, and also especially when we're showing how big this is compared to how big that is. Here's an example. Dexter has traveled a lot, but he's never planned a holiday anywhere near the scale of his 6-month trip around the world.
Okay, let's talk about scale now.
Ooh, okay.
Scale 就是规模程度的意思哦。那么除了规模程度的意思以外，还有刻度或等级的意思。我们英文常会说 on a scale of 多少到多少，代表几分到几分。比如说 How would you rate his performance on a scale of 1 to 5？ 他的表演呢1到5分，你打几分呢？这种感觉。所以现在呢 3D 打印的规模非常的有限哦，因为有些珊瑚礁的体积是很大的。
All right, so this is still kind of more of an idea than something they're really doing, especially on a large scale, which is, what the world needs. But, and this is important, but in the future, bioprinting and other developments should be able to help with this problem. That's true, the technology will improve. They'll be able to do things on a much bigger scale and even do stuff like bioprinting. I think this is when they use like living tissue or living cells to not just print something, but a living thing. I've heard about them using this to print new organs for people. If you need a new liver or something, they'll be able to print a real working liver. So I guess they could print real living coral or something like that. That'd be pretty neat.
So we have bio, 它是生物的意思哦，所以在未来的话，其实是生物打印是可以帮助的哦。
Now, this is all good news, but remember, this is really kind of only a band-aid. This is like, we've got a problem, we've got a cut. Let's cover the cut and make sure it doesn't get worse. But it doesn't fix the whole problem, the original problem. Unfortunately, as it says, 3D printing doesn't solve the underlying problem of why coral is disappearing in the first place. Sure, we'll be able to, bring coral back and maybe have it be a little bit tougher so it can live in warmer temperatures. But the temperatures are continuing to climb, so unfortunately this won't fix the problem. It'll just sort of cover up the problem in a way. Unfortunately, we use this when we have kind of bad news, when we're kind of giving you the bad side. For example, we thought we would arrive at the theater early, but unfortunately all the tickets were already sold out by the time we got there. Rats.
哦，好生气哦！不幸的 ，unfortunately， 所以幸运的就是 fortunate， 那幸运的就是 fortunately， 不幸运的就是 unfortunate， 它是来自于 unfortunate。So I've been fortunate to find a career that I love.
That is very fortunate. That is a very lucky thing. And yeah, we had that word underlying, the underlying problem, the underlying causes or whatever. Basically, this is the basic idea. This is the real idea. This is the main idea. We might have other things that we've introduced since then, that we've learned since then, but this is kind of going back to the beginning and saying this is the basic, this is kind of where we started. For example, the underlying facts and evidence in the case don't match what the suspect has been telling the police.
所以我们来看一下下面 underline 这个字哦。Underline 是形容词哦，它是真正的或根本的。Underlie 是动词哦，它指的是什么的深层原因的意思。它就是 underline 就来自于 underlie 这个字。比如说 social problems and poverty underlie much of the crime in big cities， 代表说社会问题跟贫穷呢，就是这一些犯罪的根本原因。那么我们文章中是不是看到起初这个片语 in the first place？ 所以意思就是不幸的是呢，3D 列印并没有办法完全解决珊瑚起初消失的根本问题哦。
So what can we do? Well, it says it's time that we took more action to stop climate change.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely.
we have to do that. Take action.
We need to be doing more stuff about this. That's right. Turning off our electricity, traveling in more environmentally friendly ways, reducing, reusing, recycling, all of that good stuff because we can't 3D print our way out of this problem.
Yeah, 所以我们要采取更多行动来阻止气候变迁的。We should. Okay, I'll turn up the AC now. Okay.
That's a great idea, but we'll do it right after our For You Chat question. How about
that?
All right, so let's do our For You Chat question. It's an interesting one. You have a 3D printer and you can print anything you want. What do you print and why?
I think I'll print out some small items like maybe a earbud.
A what?
Okay, not that. Maybe no, never mind. I think it's a key holder, or
key holder,
or maybe a pencil holder, something.
A pencil.
Like.
You could print out anything you want, and you want to print out a pencil holder.
Yeah, because it's practical.
All right.
Or well, what would you want to print out? Something cool.
A pirate ship.
Okay, where do you want to put it?
I have no idea. In the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it in your bathtub.
No, I'm actually print out a bathtub. That's not a bad. That's much more useful than a pirate ship. And then I could print out a little pirate ship and just float it in my bathtub.
Oh, that's so cute.
I think that's a good idea.
And maybe a little duck. Can we print out a duck?
You could print out a little rubber ducky.
Cute. Okay.
Absolutely. You can print out anything you want, and we're going to go with duckies, pirate ships, and bathtubs. What about you guys? Hopefully you have much better ideas than our terrible ideas. Have a chat about that. Be nice to the fish, and we'll see you back here sometime soon. Until then, blub blub.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review. Scientist. Cancer is a terrible illness, and every day, scientists are working on new treatments and cures. Approach. The new boss took a fresh approach to solving the problem after he asked for the workers' opinions. Various. There are various ways to get to Taipei 101, including by train, MRT, bus, and taxi. Scale. People were shocked when they realized the scale of the damage caused by the typhoon. Unfortunately. I wanted to go to Jesse's birthday party, but unfortunately I had too many other things to do. Underlying. Underlying. Peter found out that his pain was caused by an underlying problem he hadn't known about.
智慧小补帖
Coral reef. Artificial. Concrete. Ceramics. Latch onto something.